I think I got this because I was looking at our latest podcast and we all look good. Okay. We're all like this. Nobody's like this, you know? Welcome to the podcast, The Millionaire of the Diamonds. It's so important for me to share with you. It's not just a podcast. Last night, we gave a training to the US Canadian directors. And I told them it's all about personal development. It's not what your company can do for you, but rather what you can do for your company. Comes from Kennedy, not what you can do for your, what we can do for you, but what you can do for your country. And at the end of the day, it's all about me working on me every single day to be a better version of myself. And the other thing I told them yesterday, I said to them, Jean-Philippe, I said, at the end of the day, no, I didn't make the same amount of money in my multi-level marketing business last year. But because my personal development is there, financially, it grew. That's what we need to understand. So, you have to understand this is the wider spectrum, the Millionaire of the Diamonds. And we're not some fancy podcast, because I was listening to the new things on Netflix. They have podcasts going on now. And I clicked on one of them. It's really like hype and high quality, but it's all about look at me. It's not about what can we do together? I don't know if you understand, Marie-Pierre, Jean-Philippe, the big difference. This is not look at us, but what can we do together? So this is a very simple podcast. We take a book that we know will make a difference because it's a bestseller, because it's recommended, et cetera, and intentionally we dive into it and we turn it into something we're going to be able to use, right? And my 62 years, that Jean-Philippe and Marie-Pierre don't have, reminds me to remind you, there's also a question of time. You gotta let it simmer, experience. There's some things we read on those books that they don't remind us. There's also a question of timing, age, and patience. So today, let me begin very strong, because I know you're going to want to truly share this podcast, okay? One of our biggest problems in society is that we don't know how to set boundaries. So if I'm talking to anybody right now, I see Sherry, good morning. I see James. I didn't see James with the crew. Yes, James is there with the crew, Kendra and Monique and Carolyn. I'm speaking to everybody here. Just understand, if I don't learn to set boundaries, we don't protect our time. Now we don't protect our energy, and we're certainly not protecting our priorities. So we live reactively. Okay. Instead of leading my family, leading my spouse, leading my society, leading my community, leading my business, I'm always running around. We say walking fast, going nowhere. And I'm always going to be wondering, why am I always frustrated? Why am I not achieving what I said I would achieve? Well, it's not because you don't care. It's not because you don't have the passion or the vision or whatever, but it's because you haven't learned to draw the line in the sand that says enough is enough. And especially when you are givers like me, Jean-Philippe, my Tupperware ladies on my team are givers. Okay. We always go over and above. Takers smell us a mile away. Okay. So if you don't learn how to put boundaries, it's not going to work. So this episode is going to reach the right people. So you need to share it with people that you personally have a personal relationship with, and you know that their biggest default is not being able to say no. You need to share this with any one of your recruits. If you're in a multi-level marketing business, a lot of my phenomenal, great people, I have lost them because of their incapacity to say no. So while you're sharing, we're going to go over to Marie-Pierre for a little bit more info on the contest. When do we announce the winners?
On Thursday.
Do I do this every time on Wednesday? I think so.
Every week.
I'm allowed. I'm 60. Okay, bye-bye. Over to you, Marie-Pierre.
Before, I love Manishi, right? I love the matching uniform this morning. Yeah, because usually we have Maria in the middle, but today we were matching, so it's It's beautiful like that. Okay, so let's start to share this morning. So you have the text in the comment that you can copy paste it when you share, so people understand why they should listen to the podcast this morning. But you will see that when you click on the arrow, you can send it by messenger or text message too. So when you have someone in mind that really needs to hear the podcast this morning, best way to do it, send it by messenger, send it by text message. And then we have our contest, Les Millionnaires des Diamants. So first, when you go on our Facebook group, Les Millionnaires des Diamants Inspirational Group, every time that you post, every time that you comment, that you react on a post on the group, you gain points during the month to be in the top 10 contributor. And at the end of the month, the official top 10 get a voucher to go shop on the boutique Les Millionnaires des Diamants. So yes, tomorrow we're going to announce the top 10 for the month of January. Yeah, tomorrow morning, tomorrow. And then we have a draw every month. So we're gonna announce tomorrow morning who is the winner for January. So to be in the draw, there's two ways. First, with the boutique. So when you go and you place your order, take a picture. You're receiving your order. You take a picture and you post on social media, and you always tag Marie Moreno and Emiliana de Dema to be in the draw. And same thing, but with the books Emiliana de Dema. So every time that you receive a book, you take your picture. You're reading one of the book, you take a picture. You're doing one of the quiz book, again, you can take a picture. You're using one of the workbook, again, you can take a picture. And your agenda de Millionnaire de Diamant, take a picture and post on social media, and always tag Marie Moreno and the Millionnaire de Diamant to be in the draw at the end of the month. And if you are not yet registered for the next conferences that we have in 2026, there's one in April, there's one in July, and there's one in November, and there's 3 different subjects. So you want to register for the 3 next conference, not to choose what day is the best, but you want to be everywhere, because it's going to be really a way that you can grow during the year with the different subjects. So you have the link in the comment, you have the link at the top too. So click and register for the next conferences. Voilà.
Thank you so much, Marie-Pierre. So let's dive in right away. So what is the problem in today's world? Okay, so let me start with something very human. We all have people in our lives who are a little bit high maintenance. And I said yesterday, thank God I'm writing this, because I don't think I would have articulated that way. Okay. Yeah. So this is beautiful, eh? A little bit more high maintenance. People who always have a crisis, a question, an urgency, drama, a favor to ask. Can you visualize at least one? Go into comments. Let me know if you can visualize someone in your life that's a little bit high maintenance. And if we're not careful, they don't just bring us their story, they bring us their problem and quietly put it in our hands. Oh my God. You know, I'm 62 this year, and I'm thinking back between the age of 18 to 35 about, wow, this was so me. I used to attract them. You know, everybody that was walking with a dark cloud over their head, they were like, I was a magnet for these people. Okay, until I started working on myself. Who is the person I have to become? Okay, so they bring us their problem and quietly drop it into our hands. And what the book is saying right now is something very confronting. Their problem is not your problem. Not because you don't care, not because you are cold, but because if you take it from them, okay, this is so important. It resonated with me 100-fold. And there's something that happened last week and this week that I'm so grateful to be reading this, okay? So I don't want to be cold, but this is what happens if I take your problem from you. I am stealing something very important from you, and it is your ability to grow. And this is why it is so important not to make other people's problems yours, okay? Over and beyond. And now my brain was going. I said, I love it. So let me go somewhere with you. This is my sister, who always was frustrated because people kept asking her to do this and do that and do that and do that. And she wasn't able to say no. And then one day, you know, she came up to me and she says, why doesn't it happen to you instead? And I said to her, simply because my agenda is organized. Like I said yesterday in the training for the US and Canadian directors, I don't wake up in the morning, do this with my finger, and depending where the wind is blowing, that I decide what I'm going to do. There is an unwavering schedule. And thanks to that unwavering schedule, if Marie-Pierre would say to me something, I would say, let me look at my agenda. And I said, oh, I would love to. But unfortunately, today at 11, I already have something that's booked in my agenda. So this is very, very important. So there is a big difference between helping somebody and caring for somebody. Now, I didn't say it in these words to my sister back in the days, but I wish I had. Instead of just saying organize your agenda, I would have said organize your agenda and don't remove people's problems from them, because you're not helping them, you're actually enabling them. So when someone makes their problem my problem, I don't make them stronger. I make them dependent, and that's not love. That's not leadership. That's not respect. And right now, I am in a situation like that, and it's not my problem. It's theirs. They're going to have to figure it out. Every time someone solves their own problem, they grow. Every time someone solves their own problem, they mature. Every time someone solves their own problem, they gain confidence and they become more capable. But if I solve it for them, they stay small, they stay stuck, they stay frustrated, and they stay tired. So maybe one of my blessings is, I think today I'm saying this, is that my mom died at a very young age. So I couldn't go see her and say, I have this problem. And I really think that allowed me to grow into the person I am today a lot faster versus if my mom was there, because my mom was somebody I would always bring my problems to. Anyways, just thought I'd add that in. So I trust you to handle this. So here's what happens when we don't respect this. We get distracted from our own purpose. We give our best energy to things that are essential to somebody else and not to me, instead of things that are important to me. So I neglect my husband, I neglect my children, and most importantly, I'm neglecting my work. And then we wonder, why am I exhausted? Why am I frustrated? Why am I resentful? Why am I not where I want to be? Not because people are bad, but because we didn't draw the line. And this is what you're going to leave with today. We're going to start by stopping people from robbing our time. But they're not robbing our time because they're robbers, because I haven't set the boundaries. See, I am responsible. And we are also going to build a stronger family, a stronger team. For those in the multi-level marketing business, you will build a stronger team. So here is the truth I live by. I am responsible. If Monique were on Zoom, she'd pull up the sign. I am responsible for my choices, and they are responsible for theirs. I can support, I can encourage, I can guide, but I don't carry what is not mine. I have enough load on my shoulder. And because of that, I have clarity. For those that have followed the last conference, I have clarity. I never give up on myself. I can clearly articulate what I want, what I need. And lastly, I'm able continuously to remove from my list to do things that are not relevant for me. So now, to understand a little bit more how to put these fences up, I'm going to leave you in the hands of Jean-Philippe Jacques.
Yes, thank you, Maria. Good morning, everyone. I really love the way that you explain things, and it remember me one of the commanding officer of a summer camp that I had that I really appreciate. He was working for the national bank. He was like really high in the hierarchy, and he was always saying to us, because he was working in the HR department, and he gives us that visual that everybody has monkeys on their shoulder. Okay. And our monkeys represent our task, our problem. Some people don't like having their own monkeys on their shoulders. So they come and see you and they give you their monkeys. So actually you have yours and theirs, and you are falling under like the pressure. And this is where you need to establish your boundaries. So I really, it always reminds me that visual. And this is how we can understand that boundaries are a source of freedom. So I want to give you that example. It's an analogy to explain that principle. So imagine a school located next to a busy road. At first, the children played only in the small area of the playground close to the adult because they were afraid of the street. Then a solid fence was installed around the ground. What was the result? The children could spread out, play everywhere, and explore every corner safely. Their freedom more than double. So here, what we can, when we see that example, what is that lesson? The lesson is that a clear boundaries doesn't confine us. It liberates us, okay? In our life, with our personal boundaries, we often end up like the prisoner of expectation, of demands, and agenda. But when you will set your boundaries, it will feel like you're building that fence, okay? It will give you more space and security to consciously choose where you want to invest your time and your energy. So it's an act of affirmation, putting your boundaries. So this is the first step, establish your boundaries. The second way, okay, that you will do this is by identifying your deal breaker. Okay, so what are the deal breaker? There's two types. Okay, the first type with the first method is to think of one person who regularly pulls you away from your essential path. So make a list of the type of request and activity that that person is doing. Okay, so let's just have a look to an example. So let's say that you're dealing with Mark, one of your colleagues. Okay, and Mark says, "Hey, Marie-Pierre, could you take a look at my presentation for tomorrow meeting? It'll just take you like 5 minutes." But you always know that Mark, okay, doesn't do the work at all, or doesn't complete the work, or don't put enough energy. And you already know that it won't take you just 5 minutes. It probably will be like 15 to 20 minutes. So the deal breaker here is that you have to say to you, I refuse to do last minute review or publishing work from somebody that hasn't done the work at all, okay? Especially if it's not related to your goals, your path, and especially if the other person has a poor planning. So you need to say, I will only say yes if the presentation or that things will impact like my own path in the company. So really be sure that you identify that. The second method of the deal breaker is what we call the pinches. Okay, a pinch is a slight irritation, okay, that twinge of resentment when you face a request that doesn't sit right with you. So let's just have an example, okay? So a friend sent a 5-minute voice message about their vacation. Well, when you open your messenger and you see 5 minutes, you're like, oh my God, okay. Like I will prefer a text message much more longer, okay, than listen, okay, to such a long message. So here it's a pinch. So it's about saying to that person, okay, I don't have time like Sylvain. I did remember he had like a message of 9 minutes from a client, I think, and he said, I don't have the time to listen to that. So do that in 1 minute or send me like a couple messages that I can read more fastly. So those pinches are really important to identify. And then you will be able to say, I prefer a long text message. Okay. So unsolicited long voice message is a waste of my time. So this is really important because they take a lot of energy. So you need to know what are those deal breakers for you. And finally, the third way of setting boundaries is what we call build social contract. So knowing your own limit is good, but communicating them to other will prevent conflict, okay? So here it's really about understanding that you are two human, you have two different ways of thinking, of seeing the world, of working. Maybe you have like precedent behind you, but when you establish them, okay, directly from the beginning, it will help you know where you like maybe have friction and work in the best way. So one of the example is me and my director. So Julie and I have decided to open a boutique in a mall, and we are, yes, we are very similar, but at the same time, we're very opposite in our way of thinking and doing our things. And starting from the beginning, we establish what were our limits, what we wanted to do, and what we did not want to do. So all of the accountant, like the accountant part, I will say it this way, okay, is the responsibility of Julie. Okay, I'm not looking at that. Yes, I'm looking, she like give me information, but I'm not doing like the technical work because this is not my cup of tea. Okay, but I'm managing all the products and all of the inventory and everything. Okay, so my strength is in the boutique. Like her strength is much more like in the background, let's say, okay, working on the number. So we have established that from the beginning. Yes, we had tension, but we were able to explain the way that we were thinking just to be sure that we work and we have success together. So that social contract isn't like a legal document, but it's a clear and explicit agreement that we have to start a relationship or that project just to be sure that we are working toward both our path and our vision. So now, to help you continue reflect how you're able to establish your boundaries, we will go see Marie-Pierre with, is it a quiz this morning?
Yes, a
Yeah!
quiz. Of course, it's time for the quiz this morning. So we make sure that we're not carrying all the problem of everyone and not put our boundaries. So the quiz is not about are you kind or not kind, but it's about that responsibility because many of us were taught that when we were younger that it's important to help, it's important to rescue, it's important to fix, to protect. But over time, helping people can quietly become carrying the problem of everyone. So the quiz will help you to see where people cross your boundaries or where you feel drained or resentful, where you may be robbing other of growth or where you are truly supporting versus enabling. So you want to answer honestly because there's no good or bad answer. It's about awareness so you can know how you can improve after that. So let's start. For every question, you can answer A, B, C, or D this morning. So, question number one. So, when you have someone that is close to you that has a problem, do you immediately feel responsible for fixing it? A, yes, I jumped in right away. B, I feel the urge but hesitate. C, I listen but try not to take over. Or D, I trust them to handle it. Question number two. When someone complains repeatedly about the same situation, what do? A, you try to solve it for them. B, you feel frustrated but still help. C, you encourage them to decide. Or D, you let them own it. Question number three. When someone is really upset, what do? A, you absorb their emotion. B, you feel drained. C, you stay present but separate. Or D, you stay calm and grounded. Question number four. When someone asks for advice, what do? A, you tell them exactly what to do. B, you push your solution. C, you ask questions. Or D, you let them choose. And question number five. When you feel resentful, what does it usually mean for you? So A, that you're giving too much. B, that you're being used. C, that you are unsure of how to say no. Or D, you cross your own boundary. So did you get mostly A's, mostly B's, mostly C's, or mostly D's? So if you have mostly A, you carry what is not yours. So you confuse love with responsibility. So you believe helping mean fixing. So you feel useful, but often you feel tired. So the risk is that you create that dependence instead of growth around you. So you want to learn to step back so other can step up. Now, if you have mostly B's, you are on the over involved. So you feel trapped between caring and resentment. So you know that it's too much, but you don't know how to stop. So you sacrifice your peace for other people's comfort. So you want to build that emotional distance without the emotional coldness. Now, if you have it mostly C, you are learning to let go. So you feel the difference between helping and caring. So you are starting to choose clarity over guilt. So you are practicing that maturity. So you want to trust that direction and be consistent. And now if you have more CD, so you respect that responsibility. So you support without absorbing, you care without controlling, and you love without rescuing. So you build that capable people around you, but make sure that you don't go into the other side. So this is leadership, but not selfishness. Now, 3 points to help you to stop carrying other people's problem. Number one, replace fixing with trusting. So you can say, okay, I trust you to handle this, and not, okay, I will fix it for you, but I trust you to handle this. Number two, separate empathy from responsibility. So you can care without carrying everything. So separate that empathy from responsibility. And number three, you want to help with question, not answer. So you can guide the people around you and not decide for them. So you can let them decide with helping them with some question. So it's all about realizing that love is not solving other people's life, but it's about trusting them to grow. Because if you feel tired, if you feel resentful, drained, it may not because people are too demanding, but it may be because you are carrying what is not yours. So you can put it down and just change the way that you see people around it and how you can help them and love them. So on that, I wish you a beautiful day and we'll see you tomorrow morning. Bye everyone.